Okay, so yeah, so today is the day two, and we would continue from where we got to. Um, that is the latent class analysis and its application. So just a recap. Yesterday we looked into the introduction to the latent class analysis, some issues that are associated with it, softwares that you can use to do the analysis, some decisions that you need to take, the structure, selecting the number of classes, and then the inclusion of covariate and other outcome variables, and then final analysis of the um, the results. So that is what we looked at. So today, well, let me just take small time to, get into. So the latent class, as indicated, throw more light on ability to be able to identify groups that share certain kind of what characteristics. So if that is the focus of the study and you really want to do the grouping that exists and you use the grouping for further analysis, then this technique will be appropriate. So that is what it is. And then we looked at some of the softwares. I did mention that some of them are free, others you need to buy, almost $400 and so on. But the R software is very, very free. You don't need to pay for anything. All that I need to get is your data to be able to, download some of the packages that you need to run the program. Yeah, so we also looked at the selection of the participants. So I indicated that you need to be very careful as to who to include in the study. Very, very important. So if you are looking at children, the focus should be children. If you're looking at adult, you need to be able to define it clearly. And it will help you if in future you want to do what is called intervention. If you're unable to select the participant very well, it will be difficult if you need to do a kind of intervention. So let's take note of that. And then the sample size too. We did said that the sample size play a critical role when it comes to the usage of the technique. Not only this particular technique, but all forms of statistical technique. If you have more information or if you have more participants in your study, it gives a better picture of the results than to rely on limited sample size for the study. But however, it also depends on the scope or the nature of what the study. Certain studies, it is difficult to get people to form part of the study. Yeah, so if your study wouldn't permit more sample size, but limited, fine, you are good to go. But you need to include it in your study that there is a limitation in terms of the sample size. Okay. And we also looked at some of the challenges associated with limited sample size, that it becomes difficult to fit the indices and even convergence with issues. Sometimes the system might not even work at all. You will not be able to get any result at all because of the samples. And remember, we want to make a decision, and the decision should be based on large sample size. So if you are finding some of these things, maybe in your analysis, in your future analysis, it could be as a result of the sample size. That is why you're unable to get good what estimate. Okay, so we looked at some of the fit indices or criteria that you can use to, evaluate the model. We said there are several of them, but the commonly used one is what is called the BIC. We use the BIC, that's the Bayesian Information Criterion, to do the selection. But there are more that you can use to, evaluate the model. And some researchers have proposed 0.8 as a cutoff point, some 0.9 as a cutoff point. Yeah, so depending on where you are getting your references, you can just, cite such kind of information. So there are many others, how to report the result. I talked about it. So this is a sample as to how you can do the reporting and so on. Okay, so today we will be looking at some of the packages that we will be using for the analysis. We'll be looking at some of the packages for the analysis. And I think I did share some of the packages with you. I did share some of them with you, and let me see if I can. Yeah. So we have sorry. Okay, so we have the tidyverse, the POLCA, the ggplot, and so on. So these are some of the packages that you will need. And I also share the questionnaire with you, which I believe we all have it. Okay. All right, now let's take a critical look at some of the works that have been done. Some of the works that have been done in the area of the latent class analysis. So let me share a few of them. Aside what I share, there are more. Irrespective of your field, you should be able to use the technique for such analysis. So this is visitors' heritage location choices in Amsterdam in times of mass tourism, a latent class analysis. So this is a typical paper that was published using the technique that is a latent class analysis. Okay, so if you take a critical look at some of the things that were done, you can see, let me just go to the results. You can see the demographic characteristics showing the gender, age, educational level, income, and so on. Then you get to the distribution of the last visit. Also get some frequencies over there with their, also statistics on attitude, item scale with mean, standard deviation, and Cronbach alpha, that is the test of reliability. Now, this is the model, or in other words, that is the latent class analysis model. So now you can see class 1, class 2, 3, 4, 5. So based on the questions that the researcher asks, you can see that the system or the researcher performed 5 classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 classes, and each class has its own statistic or results. So you can see this is like if you take class 1, these are all the indices for class 1, right? You can see all the results over here for class 1. If you take class 2 also, you can also see its results. If you take class 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then you can see the what's the name, the model statistics, right? So you can see them here, BICs and so on, AIC, that is the arcane information criterion and so on. So this is how you can present it. There are so many ways that you can present the results. There are so many ways. So it all depends on you. So after going through series of articles, you'll be able to know which formats will be best appropriate for you. There isn't any specific format that you can use, but per your research, you will get to know that, okay, this format is appropriate for me to fit my data. So that is, let's say, the model comparison, or let's say the model fit indices, right? And here, the person also did estimation of, let's say, the MNL and LC models, right? Was comparing the classes against certain, let's say, variables. Okay, so you can see LC1, LC2, LC3, that is the 3 classes against something like heritage, category, historic, urban, landscape, and so on, with their demographic characteristics and so on. So these are how someone presented his or her results, right? Then you can also see attribute importance. This is mostly we call variable important test. Variable important test. So you can determine which variable is more important than the other. It all depends on how the results comes out, right? So, and here too, you have the regression analysis, right? Regression analysis of the class membership, right? So you can also run a form of analysis, regression analysis against the classes, right? So this is just one. This is just one of the papers. There is another one. So let me see. The topic here is visitors' heritage location choices in Amsterdam. So all these works, and another one too is measuring students' level or measuring student satisfaction level for transit service, an application of latent class analysis, an application of latent class analysis, right? So you want to measure student satisfaction level, right, for transit services, right? So let's go through the results that the person had. So here too, you can see here the description of the variables in the study. As I said yesterday, you need to describe the variables very well, right? You need to describe. You can see how the person has taken the time to describe the independent variables, covariates, and so on, right? So he decided to present it in a tableau form, right? Decided to put it in the Tableau form. He also did descriptive analysis, by telling us how many people were within the international status, that is the immigration status as what international. You can see the percentage, domestic percentage, and so on. You have gender, you can also see the statistics over there, and so on. So all these are some of the things that you should present in your results. So this is table 2. This is table 3. Now, table 3, you can see the models. So this person, they even did up to 10 what models, right, with their respective what results. So you can see the likelihood maximum or the maximum likelihood estimator. You can see the BIC. You can also see the AIC, right? Yeah, so you can see all of them here. And I believe strongly that let's look at model number 3. I think model number 3 had the least BIC, and the least BIC is 6354. So that is why you can see that 3 clusters were used, right? So you can see class 1, class 2, class 3, right? And then they did, you see, you are talking about satisfaction. You are talking about satisfaction. So what is class 1? Okay, what is cluster 1? Cluster 1, they prefer to name it as what? Moderately what? Satisfied, then dissatisfied, and then highly what? Satisfied, right? Moderate. So this is how the naming should look like. And as I indicated, sometimes it is difficult. It is difficult to do the naming. It is difficult to do the naming, but based on search and consistent reading, you'll be able to know, okay, this is how I should do my what naming, right? So you can see 3 classes what's being what estimated. Okay, right. And then they did covariate against what's the clusters. They looked at how they can associate the covariate with the 3 what classes. Okay, so now you can see under the usual mode, you have private vehicle, walking or biking, or so on, against what the 3 what classes. Then you take the age group against the 3 classes, and so on. So you can see how nice this work looks like, right? So you can take the covariate and then you associate it with what the classes. Okay, let's look at another result in the same another result in the same. Okay, so here too, after the covariate table 5, they looked at the class itself, what's the name, the LCA, that's the latent class, and then they use what the attribute of what the rapid, that is the characteristics of, let's say, the outcome was variable. So you can see them here. That is the wait time, travel time, availability, destination, what access, right? So these will become, let's say, the outcome variables against what the classes, right? Against the classes. So this is how someone too can present his or her results and then do discussion on it. So there are so many ways that you can use, to describe your, let's say, your study variables. Now, this is one aspect. So now I've shown you two papers. There is another one. This is also looking at topology of religiosity or spirituality in relation to perceived health. Mostly like how people see religiosity against what their health or their depression or their life or satisfaction. Okay, you just want to look at how religious you are and how it can what influence your health. Okay, as most of us are Christians or let's say Muslims, how does that, let's say, status influence your health, your depression status, and then your life satisfaction? Okay, so someone or we can do a study that will look at how this religiosity can influence our health among the Akans, among the Fantis, among, let's say, the Gans, among a group that we think maybe a focus on religiosity in their activities, right? So it is something that we can do also to find out, right? And here they targeted let's say ethnicity within the, let's say, the bigger picture. They looked at what the older Korean what immigrants in the US, right? So these are some of the things that you can also do. Now let's see how they presented the study. You can see yesterday I talked about the measure. You can see how detailed they did with the measure. They took their time to explain each of it, right? So they have the religiosity as one, they have perceived health as one, depression is one, life satisfaction is one, and so on. Very detailed, very, very detailed. And they also have demographic characteristics. You can see demographic characteristics here. They also have the latent profile, that is table 2. That is they perform correlation among the variables, right? So they perform correlation among the variables. And then this is the model fit indices for the study. So 1 class, 2, 3, 4. They did up to 4. And then they have all the indices over here, right? Now, after that, they plotted the classes against outcome variables, right? And then they also did a profile analysis against the outcome variable and then the demographic profile against the three, let's say the 2 classes that were estimated. And then the final one, they have a regression analysis for the outcome variable that is perceived health, depression, and life or satisfaction, right? So these are some of the things that you can do. These are some of the things that you can do using the technique. As I said, it is a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool that you can use at all times. Yeah. I think let me share the last. Okay, there's another one here. This one too is what individual preferences of digital touchwords points. Okay, right. So we have this study. So those marketing, if you're in marketing, you can use this technique to do that. Let's see how they also presented the results. You can see demographic profile clearly shown, and then you can see some kind of standard deviations and other stuff and so on there. You can also see the the model fits criterion or criteria also given class 1 up to class 6. And then they did some kind of, is it a regression profile here? Parameter estimate. They did some regression analysis here showing how each of the variable contributes, whether it's significant or it is not what's significant, right? So this is one aspect that you can also use. Then this is another one, pattern of perceived barriers to medical care in older adults. So this is also another, you can see all of them presented the demographics, characteristics, and then you can also see the model fits indices. You can see plots of it, and there is a kind of relation that exists, or maybe regression for the outcome or the covariate against what the classes, right? So these are some of the things. Here too is another one, a latent class analysis on adolescents media use and association with health related quality of what life, right? So you can see this one too did the same thing. They did the same thing. They have the classes. They were able to name the classes as low use, medium use, gaming, then core preference, high social use, and so on, right? And then they did some kind of for descriptive statistics and so on. Then multivariate or regression, or let's say regression, they have this one too over there and so on, right? So these are some of the things that you can do with the application. You can do here. They use Stata software to do the analysis. They use Stata software to do the analysis. So it all depends on the software that you want to use and your knowledge level to be able to use it effectively. Yeah. So in all aspects, you should be able to use the technique to analyze your data in all aspects. Okay, so let's take a program. Yesterday, I tried sharing the R codes with you and the R codes and then the data set as well. And I believe we all have it. Please, do we all have the R codes that I shared? Were you able to download them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That is fine. That is fine. So let me take my codes. Okay, so this is the R program or software. This is how it looks like. This is the studio aspect of it. So this is what is called the RStudio. And you can clearly see it's written RStudio on top, RStudio. Yeah. So basically it has four interfaces, right? Or four views. So this whole session is one view, and then we have below it is another Below this interface is another view here, as you can see, right? As you can see. So there are 4 views. So you have the top down is 1. On the left side, this side where it is written find to estimate is also another view. So here, anytime you run a command, and let's say you have something like a graph or something, this is where you see the results. Let's say you see the graph, right? And the environment section also tries to keep records of all the things that you are doing. So here you can see a lot of things that I have done. They are all showing over here, right? So this is how the whole interface looks like. This is how the whole interface looks like. And if you click on the menu file, you can see a lot of options. There are a lot of options available for you. If you click on the edit tool, you can see a lot of them and so on. If you click on the codes tool, it has its own options available and so on. It's just that it is not all that friendly. You can't just click a button for you to get your action or for you to get your data analyzed. Like in the case of, let's say, SPSS, or let's say Stata, it is not like that, but you just need to write some small codes for it to be able to do the kind of tasks that you are looking for, right? Yeah. So don't worry at all. The most important thing is you get the understanding. You don't need to memorize any codes. There is no need to memorize a code to do a certain kind of task for you. Yeah. So that is about the, let's say, small description of the R. And I think maybe as time goes on, um, we will try to see if we'll be able to have a whole training on the R from the basics to the advanced, right? From the basics to the advanced. But for now, we are looking at how we can perform latent class analysis. Yeah. So there are packages, as I indicated, that we should install. And I shared some online video as to how you can do the installation. But if you've not done it and you want to, have the package installed, if you have not done it and you still want to do it now, no problem. You can do it. So you can see on the right side, this section where it is written to find to estimate of reliability. On top of it, you can see there is a file here. You can see plots, you can see packages, right? So you click on the packages where it is written packages. You click on it. Once you click on it, you will see install. You will see install. You click on it, you see install. Once you click on the install, this is what pops up. Okay, you will get this interface. You will get this interface. So you type here, you see packages. So you type the name of what the package, right? So if it is the tidy verse, as you begin typing, you will get a narration about what you are looking for. If it is that type or that kind of package that you are looking for, you just click on it. Once you click on it, you click on what? Install. Once you click on install, the system would install everything for you. And after you are done installing, for example, if I click on install, let's see how it says one or more of the packages to be installed are currently loaded. So it's like I have already loaded it, right? Yeah, so once you have installed, you then need to call the program in. Okay, you then need to call the program in. Don't think you have installed the program, so it is, or you have installed the package, so it is in this current profile. Yes, it is on your laptop. It is on the laptop, right? But it is not, or you have not currently invited it in this kind of analysis that you want to do. So all that you need to do is you type library, as you can see here, right? You type library and then library, the normal library, library. Then you introduce brackets or bra, and then you type that package that you just installed. So tidyverse. So you just type library bracket tidyverse. Okay. And then after you've done that, you just click run. You can see run on top, right? You can see run on top of the, I mean, just where you see source. So you can see run. After run, you can see a certain arrow. Then you can see a certain arrow pointing up. That is the previous. And then the next session, then you can see what source. So you just click on this particular run. Once you click on it, then, for example, let me just put the cursor on where I have library tidyverse and click run. Once I click run, you can see it down here, right? That is the output view. You can see it down here, right? Then you also do install the package, the POLCA, the same way. After you've gone to packages, install, you've typed in the name of the package, you come to this session and then you run. Once you run, you will see this option here, right? You will see that option there, right? Once it gets down, then it means you are good to go, right? The same applies to the library, the gym plots, and so on. So all the packages that you need, this is how you need to do the installation and how you can call them. So first, go to packages, type the name of the packages that you want to install. Uh, After you have done with the installation, type library, the name of the package, so that the system can bring the package in the application. What does the tidyverse, or what is the work of the tidyverse as a package? So it enables us to do data manipulation. Okay, you want to manipulate the data, right? You want to ensure that the data is in a good shape. The tidyverse is appropriate for you to do that. Now, what is about the POLCA? That is the package itself to run the latent class analysis. That is the appropriate package for it. But it doesn't work alone. Okay, it doesn't work alone. It works with all the other packages like the tidyverse, the ggplot, because maybe you would like to plot something. Okay, so it is not a stand alone kind of package that can do almost everything. you need the support of what other packages to be able to what to do your analysis, right? Okay, so that is that. And then you also have the ggplot. As I said, it helps you to, I mean, visualize your data or to visualize some kind of association between, let's say, variable A or variable B or something. It's mainly good for graphics, right? You want to, I mean, show graphics or picture about some relation, you'll be able to use the ggplot. Okay, then we have what the core what plot virtually, or all that it does is to give you a graph of correlation that exists between what variables. Okay, some kind of what correlation that exists between what variables. That is a graphical representation. Okay, then we have the lem beta also helping us to calculate some kind of what regression what estimate. Okay, regression estimate. And then we also have the psyche or the cycle, right, which enables us to have detailed descriptive for statistics. Okay, detailed descriptive statistics, and also to be able to calculate what reliability what analysis or indices. Okay, so these are the packages that you'll be using. These are the packages that you'll be using for the analysis. And take note that every form of, in R, every form of analysis would have a different kind of what package. Okay, you can use these packages to do a different work that has nothing to do with what latent class what analysis. Okay, so depending on the kind of task that you want to perform, you need to look for it what associated what package to be able to do the task that you are looking for. One thing about it is it's very flexible. As I said, you are not going to pay anybody for anything. All that you need is internet to be able to download the package and what use. Okay, so having been able to, I mean, one, install the package. Now you have called the package in using the library. The next thing that you need to do, let me explain this. Set.seed. Set.seed, it's like a procedure that we use if you don't want to get let's say conflicting what results. Okay, if I see conflicting results, sometimes if you don't make the analysis fix, you end up, I mean, getting different results at different times, or let's say all the time. Okay, so with this kind of result, if you run it 100 times, you get the same what results. Okay, so it's used to make your code that involves random number generation what's reproducible, right? So it will help you to always get the same results or the same kind of, let's say, output when you run the code several times. Okay, all right. So the next option here is, now I have everything. I have my codes. I have my packages in. I have called my packages. Um, what next? What next? The next option is, now I need to be able to, I mean, bring my data in the software. How do I bring my data to the software? There are so many ways that you can use to bring your data to the software. As at now, or let's say as at now, we don't know where our data set is. And the code that I gave you, it might not work, or you might not be able to even get the data in unless you follow what I'm going to tell you. Now, For ease, all that I need to do is convert your data into what is called a CSV. A CSV what format? Okay, a CSV is like Excel format. You convert your data into what is called Excel what format. Okay, Excel format. Now, what is this Excel format that I'm talking about? Let me share a different one. Let me share this Excel file. Okay, so this is the data set. This is Excel data set that I have. I need to be able to, convert it to a CSV file, right? Sometimes you gather your data and it is in normal Excel format. Okay. You can convert it to a CSV by just going to the file menu. You can see file here on the menu, and then you click on save as. Then you click on, depending on the Office application, the most important thing you save. Then you click on browse. Now, when this interface is showing, you can see save as type. Save as type. Now, there are so many of the formats, so many of them. So you need to go through the different versions or the different format that you can use to save your file. And then you select CSV, delimited. Okay. You go through because there is what is called the formatted text space delimited. We are looking for CSV, delimited, right? So you select that one, and then you look for a location. In this case, for the system to easily pick your information or to pick the data, it will be advisable for you to put or save this your data that you want to run in R in document, okay, or my document. Okay, so you look for documents, and then use the save as extension, that is the CSV, delimited, right? CSV, delimited, and save it in what? Document, right? Save it in what? Document. I already have it in there. So is it asking me to replace? I said no. So if you don't have it, save already there, this is how you can use to save your work in the document. Please, let's all do it. I want all of us, for those who have been able to download the codes and then the data set, I want all of us to, do it so that we can have the data set in the program. So just do that. Have the data sets save in the document, and then let's proceed to the software. So please, all should do, try and save the work in the Excel file that I shared with you. Save it in the document, and let's proceed. If there's any challenge, please let me know. So I'm going to the R software. I'm taking the R software. Okay, so let's do that in brief. It should not take us more than 1 minute. We should be able to include everything. Include that option of CSV and then save it in the document. Please have we all been able to save it in the document? Have we done it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so if we have the data set in R, if we have the data set in document, then this is the code. You already have it. Remember, I have already saved the data set that I shared with you. I think the name is LCA capital T, right? So that is the name. Okay, so that is the name of the file, or let's say the data set. I hope that is what you also have. Nancy, is it the same name that you
Yes,
have? Okay,
it's
good.
the same name, sir.
Okay, all right. So then, once we all have the data set in the my document or document, now let's run this code. Okay, this code is what is going to invite or bring or pull the data from your document and bring it to the software. So if you are unable to get the name right, okay, you are not going to get the data being imported to the software. So let's take note, especially when it comes to how you label your names. I mean, your file name, your Excel file names. If you don't name it well and use a different name, the system will not be able to locate it. So if we all have the data in my document or document, then, and we have not changed the name, the file name, the Excel name, let's run this first code, right? So you can just put the cursor in front of the DF or anywhere, okay? And then you click on the run on top, right? So once you click on it, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to run it. So I put my cursor here. You can see the cursor is blinking, right? Then click on run. So once I click on run, now check below or where we have, that is the console side, right? You can see the DF, right? In what? In a blue what color, okay? Or in blue, right? That at least tells you that the code has been able to what? To run successfully. Now, if you've been able to do that, then you are motivated to find out, okay, then what is there? I want to see the data, right? I want to see the data. So if you want to see the data, then run the second line. That is line 51. Just click on it. That is the next DF. Click there and then click on run. Now, once you click on run, you can see your data set in the, what's the name? In the results section. You can see that now the ID, IT, E1, 2, 3, and so on, gender, age, and so on, income, educational level, and so on, right? You can see all the variables over here. It's just that you are unable to see all the number of participants, but at least it is giving you some few of them, right? Giving you the first 21 of the item. Okay, good. Please, have we been able to do that?
Yes, sir, I have been able to do it.
Okay, all right, good. Ose, have you been able to do it? Okay, so let's move on. Okay, right.
Yes, please.
Now, so okay, so after you've been able to, I mean, do or bring the data in, that is excellent. That is what? Excellent. The next option is to define the variable groups that you have, okay, in the data set. Okay, now if you take a critical look at the data set, we have the IT1, IT2, and so on. Okay, and then we have the demographic characteristics too there, right? And then we have the outcome variables too, which is PV, PMV1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, right? So these are variables that you have in your data set. Now this PMV1, PMV2, and so on, they are measuring what is called the cycle. If you look at the questionnaire that I shared with you, you can see, let me share the questionnaire with you again if you don't have it. Okay, so this is the questionnaire. This is the questionnaire. You can see the the 9 items as I like to drink. I drink hard liquor and so on. So these are the ITE1, ITE2, 3, 4, 5. That is the 9 items. Okay, or the 9 items that we have. The 9 items that we have in what? In the study. Okay, good. Then we also have the demographic characteristics. They are the age group, gender, and so on. Now, here are the outcome variables. The outcome variables, you can see P, PMC, PMV1, PMV2, they are measuring psychological and mental health, okay? And then behavioral and contextual factors, that is the BCF and so on. Then addiction specific measures. They are also measuring with the ID, ASM1 and so on, right? So these are the definitions, right? Now, if you put all these PMV1, PMV2, PMV3, and 4 together, you get one variable called let's say psychological and mental health. Okay, so you need to put all of them together by finding what the average. Okay, you find the average of the 4 items. You find the average of what the 4 items, and then you get one variable. So what you see here in the Excel file, okay, this cycle, this SYMENT is as a result of what? Finding the average of the first 4 items under this, then you get an average of what? 1. Now, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 4 divided by 4 is what? 1. Okay, so that is why you see the 1 here standing in for all these 4 items. Okay, so let's take note of that. It is very, very important to know that. Okay, so you need to clearly define your variables, right? So now, what are the latent class items? You need to come out clearly. Tell the system that these are my items. The items that I'm going to use for the study or for the latent class analysis. Okay, not the covariate, not the outcome, because you need to define the outcome variables too as well. You need to define the covariate too as well, right? So in this case, what are the latent class analysis, let's say, items, right? So here you can see items, right? So here you can see I did mention, or I did something like P, that is paste, right? 0, then you have what bracket, then you have the parenthesis item. I just picked what let's say this particular items, the heading names, right? That is ITEM, right? Then I don't bring the 1, 2, 3. I don't bring the 1, 2, 3, but I just write what after putting the item, that is the first letter, into the parentheses, because I have 9 of them, right? I have 9 of them. I introduce what comma, then I say what 1 is to what 9. 1 is to 9, telling me that, or telling the program that the program should pick the first what 9 items with, let's say, the heading names ITE what M. So let's take note of that. So if it is this particular 1, 2 that you are using, the ITE1, ITE2, ITE3 up to 9, you can just type ITE, right? Then you put them into the parentheses, the open and then the close. Then you introduce what comma. Then you say what 1 is to what 9. 1 is to what 9. Okay, so let's take note of that. Maybe you are going to have your own study design, or you are going to have your own data description per how you are going to label it. Don't forget, okay, that if you name it as, let's say, AD1, AD2, AD3, AD4, up to, let's say, AD30, you don't need to be repeating all those. Just write AD, okay, AD, and then comma, then you say 1 is to what 30. The system will go inside the data set and then pick them from for you. So you don't need to worry at all. This is very simple. That's code that helps you to be able to, copy it from the data set and paste. So you can see paste. So it is just copying what the first 9 items and adding them to the, what's the name, the description that you give, right? That is the IT what E, or ITE what M. That is all. So, for example, if you see an hash sign here, the hash simply means that comment. Okay, it's a comment. So if I want to make comment, I introduce what the hash what sign, right? It means the system will not recognize it as what as a code or as a command. So once the system sees it, it will just what bypass it. Okay. Now, so I had 2 of the items. Okay, one set was the ITE1 up to 9, and then the other 1, 2 is the ITEM. Okay, also to what to 1. So I defined the 2 of them over here. But for now, I commented out the first one. I commented out the first one. That is the ITE, right? I commented that one out. And then I'm now using the ITEM. Okay, 1 to 9, right? Okay, so let me run that particular one. So just put your cursor on it. Put the cursor on it, on that line. That is line 55. Okay, put the cursor over there and then click what run. If you click run, if you go down here, you can see it is showing what blue, right? Now go to the next line, that is line 56. If you click on line 56 and you run it, right, you can see the items names. That is item 1, item 2, item 3, up to what item 9. So it means that the system has been able to recognize the latent class items that you have assigned. Let's take note of that. Now, having been able to do or define the items for the class, now what are your covariate? what are the covariates that you are using in the study? Remember yesterday I indicated that some of these variables that you use or you are using in your study should be based on what? Or should be grounded in what? Literature. It should be grounded in what? Literature. It is very, very important. It should be grounded in what? Literature. So if literature is telling you that, well, if you want to study, let's say, addiction, gender is a key variable, age is a key, income is a key, educational level is a key, employment is key, marital status is key, then you can base on these what variables as what, or you can use them as what your covariate. Let's take note of that. It is not all the time that you just need to use all the variables in your study for your analysis. But remember, ask yourself whether it is what grounded in what literature. Whether it is grounded in what literature. It is very, very important to take note of that. Remember, we are researchers or incoming what researchers. So we need to do what researchers are doing or those professionals are doing, not just run anything anyhow. Okay, so we make reference to literature, what literature is saying, we use them. Okay, now, so if you look at the data set, I have gender, that is the output. You can see gender, you can see also what age. This age that you see is the raw age. Okay, and then you also see another age gene. That is what the age classification. Age what classification? Age that has been classified. Okay, you've classified the age into category. Then you also have what income also into category. You have educational level into category as it is in the questionnaire, right? So if you take the questionnaire, this is a questionnaire, you can see age in years, it is empty, meaning that is the raw ages of the participant. Then you also have the age group less than 30 and then more than 30 and so on. Then you can see gender, 1 is male, 2 is female, and so on for, yeah, and so on. All right. Here we are looking at drinking behavior. Okay. The study is looking at drinking what behavior of what some people. Drinking behavior of what some people. So what is literature saying with respect to the variables that need to be included? Okay, so that is why we use these factors. That is, your age is a factor, your gender is a factor, your income is factor, educational level, your marital status is what factor, right? So all these variables were grounded in what literature. Okay, and then outcome variables. If you drink too much or if you overdrink or whatever, is it going to have psychological or mental? Is it going to affect you in any way? Is it going to have some? I mean, these are some of the things that you should know. You need to research to know, right? The effect of what alcoholism or effect of what excessive what drinking. What is it going to have? And the literature will be able to tell you that you can have what mental what issues. So if you are going to have mental issues, okay, who has been able to develop questions with respect to what mental what issues? You just go and look for that what questionnaire. That is, if you want to replicate that study that has been conducted in, let's say, Canada or Australia or New Zealand or let's say Ireland or whatever, or in the US, whatever, you just pick it, acknowledge the source, and then you can use it. So you either adopt, you take everything, or you paraphrase, or you remove some, and then what? Add your own to it. Okay, that is about what? This taking someone's what information. Okay, so after you've been able to, defined your covariate, the next thing is to define your outcome variable. The next thing is for define your outcome what variable. And remember I said that here I have PMV1, PMV2, 3, 4, and so on. They are part of my outcome, but I need just one variable to stand in for all these words, 4 items, measuring psychological and mental health. Okay, so I find the average. I find the average so that average one variable will stand in. So this particular variable is standing in for all the 4. Let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. So this is what is called constructs. So there is something we call constructs and what items. Constructs. Constructs, you can't get constructs by itself. Construct is measured through series of 4 items. So the 4 items are now measuring what is called psychological and what mental what health. So anytime you are designing an instrument and you need one variable to stand in for that, let's say, construct, you can find the average of the item. Okay, you can find the average of for the item, especially if it is based on what? A scale, like a 5-point scale, a 6-point scale, a 10-point scale, or whatever. Okay, but if it is just yes or no, it is not appropriate for you to find the average. It doesn't really make, let's say in quotes, make sense. Okay, it doesn't necessarily make sense to, find the average of yes or no. So if you have a value like 0.2, what does it mean? Is it no or it is yes? Okay, but if it is a 5-point scale, like agree to disagree, or strongly disagree to strongly what agree, then if you are halfway, you know that, okay, the response is neutral. If you are closer to 4, then you can see that, oh, it's agree. If you are closer to 1, then you can see it is what disagree and so on, right? So let's take note of that. These are some of the basic skills that you need to be able to, do effective work. So how do you also define, let's say, the covariate? So this code, as you see here, so you just write covariates or any name, okay, any name at all that you want to assign it to. Okay, you want to assign the covariate to, you can just write it here. So if it is just covariate that you want to write, just write covariate. If it is, let's say, you want to write covariate variables, you can just write covariate underscore variables. Okay, but for now, please let's maintain this name as you see, right? Later on, if you have your own, if you are done with it and you want to play with it, you can change it. But for now, let's maintain it so that we all be at the same pace, else we'll be having issues. Okay, all right. So all that I need to do is to introduce a C. The C is going to combine, right? It's going to combine all the variables or the names that you have typed in there. So you write a C, then introduce the bracket, or let's say bra, then you have parentheses there, then introduce the variables one after the other, right? So if you take gender, you put gender in parentheses, comma. If you take, let's say, age, you put it in parentheses, comma. Income, educational level, you define all your variables. Okay, you define all the variables. Okay, and then when it comes to the outcome variables, so that is the DVs or the dependent what variables, right? You also do same thing. So here we have 4 of them. That is, we have the PSYM ENT, the BEACONT, addiction, then social economic, that is SOC, and so on. So you can see all of them here, right? Good. Please, any question? Do you have any question? Okay. All right. So if there is no question, let's continue. So you've been able to define the items, you've been able to define the covariate, you've been able to define your dependent variable. So that is very, very important when it comes to you starting the process. Now, the next thing is you need to check for what is called missing. Missing observation are very, very important, right? But I would have even loved if you checked it in the Excel sheets that you have. Okay, so you like the missing should be checked. You should be able to check for the missing observation in the Excel sheet before you even bring it to what the software. That is the R software for the analysis. Okay, so let's take note. You can check for the missing by just you can highlight everything. If there's a blank space somewhere, you can highlight everything. So Control A, then on the menu, you go to on the home menu where it is written find and select. Okay, on the home, find and select, then you go to special. So once you go to special, you look for blanks. You click on it, and then you click on OK, right? So the system will go through and see if there is any blank space, right? If there is any blank in the data set. Here you can see it's written no cells were found. No cells were found, meaning the system did not find any blank space, okay, in your spread worksheet. So you are good to go. But that's notwithstanding, you can still write the codes. So these codes that you see here, right? This code that you see here goes through the data sets, it goes through the items, goes through the covariates, goes through the dependent variables and all the outcome variables, and then check whether there is what a missing value in the data set. Okay, it checks whether there is what a missing variable or let's say observation in what the data set. So here, once you run it, so now let me run. We've been able to run the items. Now the covariate too. Let me run the covariate. So I've run the covariate. It is showing here in blue. I've also run. Let me also run the DVs. I've run the DVs too, as you can also see it below. Now let me run the missing. So I click on that is the row 60, and then click on run. Okay, so you click so you get to the last option over there, that is line 64. So it has been able to run the entire code from here. The comment itself is not part, but it runs it from the missing underscore var to where you have the carry bracket. So now there isn't any issue with respect to there isn't any issue with respect to the missing observation in the data set. Okay, now, as you can see from the various papers that I shared, the various papers that I shared with you, talking about, for example, this let's say if you take visitors heritage location choice in Amsterdam, you can see something like demographic characteristics. You can see something like this. Okay, like you can see the statistics, the mean, the standard deviation, and so on and so forth, right? This is another one. I have already shared it with you. You can see the percentages and so on and so forth, right? We can equally do same, or better still, if you are not getting what you are looking for, if you are not getting what you are looking for, you can equally use another software like SPSS. Okay, this same data set is in SPSS. You can run all those frequency analysis from the software SPSS. Okay, good. But let's try to run some descriptive statistics on the data set. Okay, let's run some descriptive statistics on the data set. So we want to run descriptive statistics for all the variables, So this package that I indicated, right? This one, okay, the psycha or the psyche would give you more descriptive for statistics, will give you more descriptive for statistics. But if you don't want to have a lot of the descriptive statistics, you can use what is called the summary. Okay. So let me run this. You see, we have the variable name is df. So if I type df below where the console is, that is below, you can check. If I type df, and enter, it will give me all the variables. You can see over here, it will give me the same thing. Now, if I type summary df, if I type summary df and enter, okay, just look at it. It's the system has been able to generate some summary statistics for me. Okay, you can see the ITE 1, the mean, the first quarter, the median, the mean, third quarter, maximum, and so on. So it will do it for all the variables. Okay, it will do it for all the variables in the study for me. So this is one way that you can use to get some of the summary statistics. Another way is to use what is called the describe. And the describe works with the psyche, that is the package, to give you more let's say descriptive for statistics. Okay, so now let me run. So if you want to run the descriptive statistics, to get more of the descriptive statistics, then you just type what? Describe, the word what describe, and then the name of the, let's say, the name of the variable that you have assigned to. Remember, we have assigned the data set to df. Okay, we have assigned the data set that we brought from Excel in the program, or to the program as well, df. So you just type describe df. So let me run it. So if I run it, now this is what I get, a very nice presentation. So it gives me the variables, it gives me their mean, it gives me the standard deviation, it gives me the median, the trimmed mean or median, and so on and so forth. So with this one, you can just copy this nice table or nice work, take it to Word, format it nicely, and then you are good to go. Okay, so it is very, very important. It is very, very
Hello, sir.
important. Yes, hello. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So it means that if you have not installed that package, the Psyche, it means when you click on the describe there, you will not get results.
You will not get result. I think it will give you error message or something. You will get error message.
Yes, that's what I got.
Yes. So please,
Okay.
yeah, do install it. Do install it before you are. Once you install, then you bring library and then the psyche. Then you can then proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
good.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. So you have it in that form. And if you also want you want to do selection, you don't want to perform the descriptive, or let's say you don't want to perform the summary statistics on all the items like the way we have. Okay, we have it for all the items. If you don't want it like that and you want to do some kind of what selection, this is how you can write the code. So you can say describe, then you introduce the bra, df, then you introduce bra, and then it continues like that. You select the variables of interest. So if you want to do it for item 1, item 3, item 5, you just put them in that order and then you close. That is all. That is the approach to use. Okay, so it is not all the time. It is not all the time that you would like to do it for all the items. If you want all the items, that is perfect. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So just take note of that. Okay, now another important test aside the descriptive statistics that you've or you have seen in some of these works that I have already shared with you is what is called the reliability. It's what is called the reliability. Okay. Now, there's this paper. Let me show you um the the reliability results. So okay, so now you can see from here, if you can see, he says that, let's see what the paper is saying. It says the 3-item forgiveness, that is FGV subscale, alpha is equals to 0.85, measures the degree of forgiveness of ourselves and others and a belief in forgiveness by what? God. The 5-item private religious or practices subscale alpha. And how did they get this alpha? It is as a result of the reliability. And what is the reliability? Reliability is talking about consistency in the responses provided by the respondent. It is very, very important. It is very, very important, especially if you have a scale data, like a 5-point scale, a 6-point scale, right? A 7-point scale. In our case, we have it. So, for example, the psychological and mental health, right? It is measured in what? 5 points. That is 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly what? Agree. Okay. And these are the items. So we can run reliability for these particular what? 4 what? Items. And then we talk about it what? Reliability what? Value. It is very, very important. Most journals would look out for consistency in the responses. Okay. So we need to be able to also do same, right? So there are so many ways that you can run the reliability. Okay. And there are different types of the reliability tests, but the commonly used one is what is called the Cronbach what alpha. We have the omega, we have the half reliability, and so on. There are so many of them. But as I said, the one that is commonly reported in most social research work is what is called the Cronbach what alpha, right? And it takes value from 0 to 1, okay? Or let's say 0 to 100. So in some papers, they will tell you that if the alpha value is around, let's say 0.7, then it is acceptable. Below 7 means that there isn't what's much what consistency in the responses. Remember, this is a questionnaire that you have given out, or you are giving it out to a group of people to respond. If they are not consistent about the responses that they are giving you, how will you be able to take what decision? So at all time, we want to ensure that there is what consistency in the responses that the respondents are what giving us. Remember, it is the same kind of instrument that you are sharing with them. Not that you gave Kofi, let's say group A, different instrument, group B, different instrument, and then you've combined them. It is the same questionnaire that you gave it to the people. So there should be consistency in their responses. If there is not, it will be difficult for you to take decision. So let's take note of that. Okay. So we need to run the reliability for the items. Okay. So here it is appropriate to report the reliability for the construct by construct. Okay. Don't put all of them together. Okay. Don't run it for all the items, but try to run it for, let's say, psychological and mental. You can run it for that. You can also run it separately for what's the name? The conceptual factors. You can run it for the addiction and so on. You don't need to, as I said, put all of them together, though you can do that. But at the end of the day, you are only going to get one reliability values. Okay, but here you have the PMV items. You also have the BCF items, and they also have the AS items, right? And so on. So run them separately and report them separately in the work. Okay, as I just shown to you, the paper that I just shown to you, you can see they reported the reliability for each of the constructs, right? Here, they were talking about forgiveness. So they reported for forgiveness, and then they also did it for private religious practice, also had its own reliability values, right? There is another one to had its own. They didn't put everything together, but rather they did the reporting step by step, construct by construct, right? Okay, good. So if we want to run the reliability, this is the code. So this one, the reliability underscore result is just the name, but the code to be able to do that is what is called the alpha. So you just introduce alpha, then brackets, then you introduce the name of the data frame. Remember, we brought the data, the name that you assign to the data set, you bring it here, right? You bring it right after the alpha. So you click on it and then you run. So once you run it, then you go to the next step, that is print, meaning you want the system to print the reliability results, right? You click on it, then the system will be able to run the reliability for you. Now, let's take note of it. This is the results, print reliability results. You can see clearly you have the raw alpha, you have the standardized one. Yes, mostly you need to report the standardized alpha results. Okay, that is what you need. So this is the let's say the overall standard alpha value for all the items that you have. Okay, but as I said, do you need to run the reliability for all the items? It is not necessary. Okay, it is not necessary for you to run the reliability for all, including age, gender, like the demographic. It is not necessary. You don't need them. Okay, yeah. So, but as you can see, it has done it for all of them. It has done it for all of them. Okay, it has done it for all of them. Good. So, this is what you see over here. This is what you see over here. But if you want to do selection, you want to, let's say, for example, run the reliability for, let's say, the P. Let me do away with the ITE one. They are just yes or no items, so it wouldn't be appropriate. It wouldn't be appropriate, but we can just run it. As I said, it's not appropriate, so you can just run it and then you will get reliability values. The overall one, you had 0.67. It is 0.67. So you can replace the ITE one with the PMV1, PMV2 up to PMV4. Run it and then do same for BCF1, BCF2, BCF3, BCF4, and so on. And then the ACM1, ACM2, and so on, right? Then at the end of the day, you report it. Remember, you are going to define all this in your methodology under the measure section. Okay, so you need to clearly come out and tell the reviewers, or let's say the person going to read your article, that, oh, this was your reliability value and it is consistent with what literature. It is consistent with what previous researchers have what done. Okay, so let's take note of that. All right, so we have been able to establish the descriptive or the summary statistics, and then the reliability resource too. Okay, so here this code would just convert your items that you have into yes or no, right? That is 0 and 1. Already it is 0 and 1, so you don't have any issue with it. But at times, your data might not be in 0 and 1, so the system has to do that for you, or you need to instruct the system to do that. But we have already done it, so we don't have any issue. Okay, now this code that you see here converts covariate to factors. Okay, remember gender has 2 levels, male and female. So if you want the system to, include the various levels in the analysis, okay, that is male and female separately in the analysis, right? You can use this code to what? To instruct the system to include it in the analysis. But as you can see, though the codes are there, but I have blocked all of them. I didn't want to include them in there, else sometimes it becomes so much, right? For example, if you have age, the raw age, for example, let's say 18 to 95, the system is going to, take each of the ages, 18. You see 18 in the model, 19 in the model, 20 in the, so you end up getting a whole table on its own. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so if you don't want it, you can just tell the system that don't include that, just include gender. Just tell me that gender. I'm not particular about the level of gender. Just tell me that gender has influence or gender has no influence. Don't include the various what levels. Okay. So if you look at the results, the result that comes out, it can help you to be able to know that, okay, if it is close to 1 or if it is 0, then because I coded the gender as 0 and 1 or male, female, it means that the female would have a higher chance of being this than what the male, and so on, right? So this code at the end of the would give you the different levels of the variable in the model. But as I said, I have commented all of them out. I didn't want to include the various levels of the variables. Okay, so we are done with converting the covariate to factors. So the next level is now we are zooming into the LCA, the LCA itself. And remember I said the package that we use is the POLCA, right? So this code is what at the end of the day, it is going to use to establish what? The classes for us, okay? So now you can see here from step 3, it says specify the formula for POLCA and classes. So from here, this code would at the end of the construct what 5 classes for me. So you can see maximum classes. I told the system that system construct 5 classes for me, right? I want the system to to construct 5 classes for me. Then based on the results that I get, I'll be able to select the best class that I am looking for. Okay, I'll be able to select the best class. Okay, so don't worry. This plenty thing that you see here, right? It is, this one is just the items. Remember, we have already defined the items somewhere. The items are what we are going to use, the 9 items that you see over here, right? So set the number of classes to try. So I just want to try 5 classes, okay? Then fits model for 1 to the maximum classes. So just, like step by step, from class 1, go to class 2, go to class 3, go to class 4, and put all of them together for me. That is all that this plenty code that you see here is doing. So I'll just click here, line 90, and then begin running. So I'm going to run till I get to line 103. Okay, so let me just click on it. Let me click on the run. So I click, the system runs it, then it goes on. So you can see it has given me alert, or it has given me a certain kind of information. Yes. So sometimes you get information, sometimes you don't get it, right? But the most important thing is I don't have any error, let's say, message, right? Okay, now after we've been able to run this, now you have to get the fit indices. So now it has been able to fit the data to the model, right? Now you need to get the indices. So this session will compute the fit statistics or indices for the LCA. There are several of them: AIC, the likelihood estimator, AIC, BIC, CI, and so on, right? If you check what is in the other papers, for example, this, you can see there are, they use different types of the indices. So you can see here, they use AIC, they use ABIC, the anthropo, then VLMR, and so on, right? So these are all indices that you can use. If you pick this paper too, I believe they also have their own indices that they use. They have their own indices that they use. Okay, so this is, sorry, let me take you back. This is the construct that I was talking about. I mean, the indices, that is the Cronbach alpha, right? The reliability values, okay? You see how they did it. So all these questions that you see, there is one Cronbach alpha value, okay? Yeah. I want to see, okay, so here, this is what they use, the log likelihood estimator. They have something like the AIC, they have the BIC, and so on, right? So there are so many of them, but the most important thing is the BIC, okay? You need to get the BIC at least, plus any other indices. So here, there are a lot of them, but our focus will be on the BIC so that we can select the best model. And you can see there are a lot of codes, and I don't think you need to memorize these codes, okay? You don't need to memorize these codes. It is just there. They are all in it. You can see K in what classes. So estimate, all that is, we are just saying is estimate the indices for each of what the classes, from class 1, class 2, class 3, or let's say model 1, model 2, model 3, model 4, model 5, model 6, depending on the number of model that you tell the system, right? This is all that the code is doing. You can see the different ones too over there, right? So all this plus other verification indices would what be established on or this block of what codes. Okay, so don't try to memorize all this. It is not necessary. Now we don't worry to memorize what codes. You don't worry. If you see a code that you think you can use, you just look at it, modify the variables in it to suit to. That is all. Because you can't chew all these kind of things. I will not waste my time to chew all this. Okay. So you just look at what somebody has done. What variable did the person use? Then you can just change the variables within the code. That is all. Okay. So I don't expect you to chew all this or try to, have this thing written by or using a pen and paper and writing. It is not necessary. Don't worry yourself. So I'm going to run it from step 4. I'm going to run it. So I just click on run. That is line 106. Then it goes. Do I have a problem? It seems there's a problem somewhere. Okay, so let me go. Okay. Yeah, I think there was a challenge somewhere. The data, I think later on I saw that challenge. Okay. Because I think one of the data set had issues, so we could not compute the indices. You can see everything is 0, 0, 0. You can see, I think it was the warning here. Okay. Let me comment this item out. Let me comment this one out and then use this particular one. Okay, and then begin running. Okay. I don't foresee such. Okay. 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 All right. So at the end of day, you can see all the fit indices. Okay. You can see. So I asked the system to. So sometimes when you have issue with the data too, it has impact. You might not be able to estimate. Remember, yesterday we indicated that the sample can have impact on the results. You might not be able to get it will not even converge at a point, right? You will not be able to get results for that. I did mention that if there is issue with the data. So now 5 classes. I have 5 classes here, right? The log likelihood, the AIC, the BIC, the CAIC, and so on, right? With their various what? Parameters, okay? Or with their various what? Results. Okay, you can see it nicely here. Okay, so it is here that you need to look for the least, okay? You need to look for the least indices that will help you to be able to, do your estimation or to base on to say that this is the, what's the name? The results or the model that you are using. Okay, this is the results that you are using for your study. Okay, it is very, very important. It is very, very important. So getting the model right by going through all these plenty codes that you see here, right, will help you to be able to get the model fit. Okay, to help you to be able to get the model fit. And then after you are able to get it, then you use that fit to be able to get what you are looking for, right? Okay, so let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. So after you've been able to establish the 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 fit indices, you can go on. If there isn't any issue with your model, Then here you can still go on and then determine the best class. Okay, you can determine the best class. So this session will select the best class, right? Here is telling you it is what? 5 classes, or it is the 5 classes that is what appropriate. Okay, I think yeah, 5 classes will be too much. Okay, but let's move on. So the system will be able to now calculate what is called the conditional probabilities. The conditional probabilities for the classes for you. Now, these classes that you have, 1 up to class 5, right? Now the system is telling you that you need 5 what classes. Okay, you need 5 classes, right? How will you name the classes? How will you name what the classes? Okay, but I think the data set here, think there is an issue. It shouldn't have been. Let me still, okay, let me still go through this one again, which I don't expect. Okay, so here, this is, let's see something here. Okay, so you can see, let's go through the BICs. Let's go through the BICs and select the least one. The first one is 8,759.9, 8,633.7, 8,663.7, 8,720.2, 8,779.9. Now, who can tell me the least BIC? Who can tell me from the results the least BIC? And which class is that BIC value associated with? Who can tell me? Oh, hello. Please, can we see the BICs?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so what is the least value? Or the smallest value?
It's 8633.7.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So it is 8,663.7, and it is associated with what? 3. So this tells us that with this particular data, 3 classes were what? Estimated. Okay, the first one, when I change the order, it gave me 5. When I change it again, it gave me what? 3. Okay, so meaning we have what? 3 what? Classes. Okay, so if we continue from here, is it 3 classes? It is rather 2, right? It is 8633.7. That is the least. Is that not it?
Yes, yes, that's what I mentioned, but I wanted to notify you.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry about that. So it is two classes. So now you can see the system is telling me that the best class is what? 2. Okay, the best class is what? 2. Now from here, you want to know the conditional probabilities. So then you run the next one, then you get something like this. Okay, now item 1 is, what is item 1? If we take the questionnaire, what is item 1? Item 1 is on, if we take the questionnaire, for example, item 1 is I like to drink. 2, I drink hard liquor. I've drank in the morning. I have drank at work. I drink to get drunk. I like, and so on. But if you look at it from, see how the system has done it. It's used the items, no, names, items what? Label, not the definition of what item 1 is, right? So what you need to do is you need to be able to take it to Excel, right? You need to be able to take it to Excel. For example, something like this. So I did something like this. Okay. I did something like this. Some of these things you need to take your time. It takes time to be able to, I mean, have a better picture about it, but with consistent practice. Okay. If the result comes, for example, item 1, right? Item 1, class 1, class 2. Now, what is class 1? What is class 2? You don't know what class 1 is. You don't know what class 2 is. But remember, we have yes or no, or true or false. Okay, so 0, what is 0 from the questionnaire? 0 is no, yes is what? Is 1. Okay, so now you can see class 1. Class 1 correlates these values that you see here is like a correlation values. So you can see that with class 1, it is correlating with the correlated value is what? 0.042 with what? With no. But it also correlates highly, that is approximately 0.96 with what? With what? Yes. If you take class 2 too, you can also see that it correlates with no, approximately 36%, and then that of what? Yes too is approximately what? 60 what? 4%. But we can see that it is rather the class 1 that correlates highly with what? With no, taking into consideration the 1 and then the 2. Okay, so you need to be able to design a tableau. You need to be able to design a tableau, something like this. So here you have your class 1 and then that of what? Your class what? 2. So you have class 1. So you should be able to design an Excel template like this. You have your items here. You have your class 1. You have your class 2. If you have 3 classes, then class 3. Class 4, class 5, class 6, and so on, right? Now, you can see the first item, item number 1, we had 0.6, 0.6 something, right? So here it is 0.95. If you do the approximation, it is 0.96, right? And it is in relation to what? Class what? 1, right? So when you come, this is how you need to do it, right? Oh, it seems I even mixed it. I mixed the other way around. Okay, so the 0.96 was supposed to, oh, which one is 0.1? Let me see. 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. Okay, so this is 0 and this is 1, right? So it should have, yeah, been this, right? I think I made a mistake by changing the order. Okay, so at least that value should be here. Okay, that value should be, let's say if I interchange it, then I have, let's say 2 here, I have 1 here, and I have 2 there. You have this value over here. Then you go take the item number 2. Also pick its value. Which of the classes is it associating with? You take the class 3, which of the classes is it associating with? And so on and so that is how you can do to, know how much in terms of percentage, right? How each of the item correlates. If it becomes necessary that you need to add these variables, or let's say you need to add this resource to your table, this is how you need to go by. Okay, this is how you need to go by. Now, how do you label? The label here, as I said, is difficult. Now, I like to drink alone. I like to drink alone. Okay, I like to drink alone. Here, I like to drink. Maybe I decided to maybe name it high risks, but I drink hard liquor. I have drank in the morning. I have drank at work. I have drank this, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. I think I've changed the order. I have changed the order. So this one should rather, the high risk should rather be for this. All this, that is class number 1, should rather be high, and then this one is the low risk. I like to drink. If I just say I like to drink, we cannot say that is a high risk, but somebody who is drinking hard liquor, somebody who is drinking in the morning, somebody who is drinking at work, somebody who is like almost all the time is drinking, then we can say that the person stand a high chance, okay, of getting a certain condition, right? So the class 1 should rather be the high risk, and then the class 2 should rather, or it should be what? The low risk, right? So this is how the label should, or yes, should be done. This is how you should do the labeling. And as I said, it is difficult to do the labeling, but with consistent practice, I believe strongly that you should be able to do that. Okay, so after you are done with it, you want to know the percentage. If you go down here, if you go down, you will see estimated class population share. Estimated class population share. So this is where you get the percentages. Okay. So you can see 0.16. This is for class 1, and then this is class 2. Okay. You have class 1, and then that of class 2. So you have the 16.92 for class 1, and then 0.83084 for class 2, right? So the percentages that you see, over here, the percentages that you see over here, right, are from the results that we had. But as I said, I have made some mistakes with the table, right? Good. So that is how you can pick the values from the results, and then you attribute it to that. Okay, so the next thing is you need to plot the data for the profile. So you need to run the line 179 down to 185. So let me run it. Okay, and then you plot. So here the system will do the plot, right? So you can see from here a plot, right? So you can see the system has plotted the classes against the items for you, right? So this is how you can also do the plots. But looking at the nature of the data, you are not getting the beauty of it. If you get a very good items, and you have variables, you will get to know how beautiful it is. Okay. And all this, you can also see it in the manuscript that I shared, or the papers that I shared with you, right? Then you can also run a bivariate correlation, or let's say correlation, right? So you click on it and then you run. Now, this is the correlation between, or let's say, yes, correlation between what? The variables. You can add this to your results, or let's say to the report. Okay, so correlation between gender by gender is this, gender by age is that, and so on, right? So let's take note. If it is something that you want to add, you can add it, right? Some of the journals or where you want to publish, they have a limitation when it comes to the number of what's the name? The number of tables or figures that they expect. Okay, so if they have limitation, it's you need to take into consideration what should be done. Okay, you need to have a limitation as to what you should include and what not to include in your analysis. Okay, good. All right. So the next is to run regression analysis. Run regression analysis. Okay, run regression analysis. So against the classes. So we go to this side. You run it. Okay. And then good. So this is regression analysis. So the system will run the regression analysis for you. Okay. Now, it is taking the outcome variables. Remember, we had 4 of them. The PSYM, PSYMENT, and we have BE, that's the behavioral control. Then you also had the addiction 1, 2, and then the social engagement 2, right? Now, we want to find out whether the covariates, okay, whether the covariates associate with the outcome what variable. So what you need to do is you need to look for the significant value for the reference. And please, you need to have a reference point. Okay, you need to have a reference that you'll be comparing the results against. You have, let's say, 2 classes, class 1, class 2. Which of them are you using as a reference, right? And how are you going to name? Remember, you have to name the classes. So if it is class 1 is low, class 2 is high, right? The meaning class 1 is the low, the reference point is low. Then you are using the low, or you are using the high to do the comparison. But here, you can see from here, the significant value is 0.185, which is not statistically significant. It is not statistically significant, right? So it tells you that none of the variables here, right, has an impact on the outcome variable. If you come to the, let's say, the same outcome variable, it's second class, that one to look at the value, it is not also statistically significant. If you take the behavioral control, right, see the significant value. It's like none of the variables here, right, shows significant what? Impact on the outcome, right? None of what? The variables, right? Because of the p-value that you see here, right? If you get to the addiction 2, look at the p-value. It is 0.79. It's also not statistically what? Significant, right? If you take the social engagement 2, the p-value, they are all bigger than 0.05. They are all bigger than 0.05. So here, even the regression will not be appropriate because none of the variables show significant what relation with what the outcome what variable, right? If, for example, if this particular paper, that I shared earlier on, here you can see at least one of the variable was showing significant what relation. Here is the same thing, the dependent variable, we need to report the R² value and so on. Now this is the class. The reference class is this, right? So here you can see one, at least there is one variable showing significant. That is female. right? In terms of gender, it is showing what's significant, right? And then here too, you had what income level showing significant, right? Then when it comes to the life satisfaction too, you have, I think, age also showing what's significant, and then income level also what's showing significant, right? And then you have one of the reference class also what's showing significant. So at least you can look at, or you can say that some of the variables are showing significant impact on the outcome variable. But in our case, for example, the results that we obtain, right? The results that we obtain, right here, this is the standardized result, but this is the p-value itself. None of the variable is showing statistically significant. The values that you are showing here, or you are seeing here, they are all greater than 0.05. They are all greater than 0.05. So here, none of the variables is showing statistically significant. It could be from so many reasons, or it could be as a result of maybe the people do not respond to the questions well, or you do not choose your variables very well, and so on and so forth, right? So this is what you can do to present a result like what I have just shared with you. Okay, something like this. This is how you can present your results in this form, or follow someone results like this. Okay, like what these people have already or also done. You can also do the same thing. This is the same thing. What you are seeing in the results that I just presented is the same thing. It's all about presentation or star. The star that you want to use to present it, you can go ahead and present. The most important thing is your ability to be able to understand what you are presenting. Okay, so that it will make someone who is going to read easier to understand what you are looking for, or what you want to tell, or the kind of story that you want to tell. Good. Then after you are done with the regression aspect, there is another session. You want to now find out the covariate. Okay, compare the covariate against the outcome variable, right? And we want a table, so we add this small package to it, the read R, and then the dplyr. So you just need to call the packages, and then you run the codes here. So here we are comparing, or we are going to compare all the what's the name, the demographic or the covariate against against the 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 outcome variable, let's say the classes. Okay, and once you present, okay, because the system was able to estimate 2 classes for us. Remember, 2 classes were estimated. So we have the class 1, we have the class 1, we have the class 2, we have class 3. Okay, sorry, we have class 1, class 2, class class 3. The system do not calculate class 3 for us, so we don't need to include class 3. If it is that different data set that I use, right, it will be able to give us 5 classes. So you see all the classes over here, and then the overall chi-square value, and then the p-value, right? It is in this same article. This article, you can see that same results inside. This one you can see the mean, the standard error, the z value for class 1. So that C1 that you see is, let's say, for class 1, with the mean, standard deviation, the z. Then you come to class 2, the same thing, right? And then you have the overall chi value, and then the p value. It is the same as what you see here. You have the mean for class 1, standard error for class 2, the z for class 3. Then you come to the mean for class 2, the standard for class 2, the z for class 2, and then the overall one, that is the overall chi, and then the p-value. Okay, so you just pick the results, take it to Excel, right? You take it to Excel, then you format it nicely, right? So something like this. At the end of the day, this is what you'll be doing. You'll be doing something like this. Okay, very nice. You'll be doing something like this. You have class 1, class 2, and then the variables will be here. And then the results that you obtain, you put them over there nicely. Okay, yeah. So this is how you can present your results. You can present your results by comparing the the covariates or all the variables against what the classes, right? Okay. I think the last option could be we can plot the line graph. Where is it? I think have I mixed something? Okay. I think there is something wrong somewhere. Okay. Because of the, I think because of the initial data. So once let me comment this one out. Yeah, let me comment this one out and then run it from here. The same procedure. I just want to show you the graph. Okay. Okay, so I think the new data set, you can see 4 classes were estimated. So you can see the 4 classes, everything is filled. Okay, 4 classes, and then the chi-square value, and then the p value too. Okay, I think I think there's some errors somewhere. Yeah. So I think I have to figure it out why the error. I have to figure it out. Yeah. So basically, this is how you can do, or you should follow to be able to, write a simple paper or get some manuscripts in this study area. It is quite challenging because it's for you to present your results. It is not even easy for you to pick the data from the software and then presenting it like this, or like the way you see it nicely in a paper. It is not a small kind of work. Sometimes you need to be doing it manually for you to get the results that you are looking for. But it pays to be able to have time to do some of this kind of thing and also understand. Because the most important thing is your ability to understand what you are doing, right? So this is how to apply the latent class analysis, in any form of research. So the most important thing is you design your instrument to suit it. You design your instrument to suit it, and then you run to, you apply the tool to that instrument, the responses that they provided. Then the system would help you to be able to to cluster or to group them into the sessions that you are looking for. And I believe strongly that it will help to, be able to, come out clearly with that objective that you have determined to establish. So all that I can encourage or I can say is you need to get more articles in that area of interest. See how other authors have done with respect to that area, and then follow suit. And I believe that you will be able to also do something using this technique. And then we should also try not to all the time be using those small techniques for analysis. As I said yesterday, some of these journals, they don't, they require you to have this robust technique for your kind of reports that you generate. So don't all the time focus on those basic technique. You can still be in the health, humanities, or whatever area, but you can use this technique to also enhance your write-up. So this is where we will end today's training on the latent class analysis using our software. So please, if you have question, you are free to bring it on board. Then I can also help to answer the question. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the presentation yesterday and today.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, this is my first time coming into a presentation with the R software. I've always heard about it, but I've never really known what it was, and I took the opportunity in this presentation. So I think from here, I'm going to delve more into it, maybe watch some other YouTube videos to add up to my knowledge. So on that basis, I don't really have specific questions to
Yeah.
once you have shared your information, maybe along the way, if it's okay, we can always get in touch with you and
Yeah.
then find out our concepts.
Okay. Okay. That's excellent. But please, if I may ask, what is your background?
Yeah, so thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. What is your background?
I am a public health,
Oh,
epidemiology and disease control.
oh, okay. Wonderful. Which unit or which facility are you in? Or which institution are you with? Hello? Hello?